Yeah, thank you. Welcome to this class. This is ACC 221, Cost Accounting for 200 level students at the University of Lagos. It's a course that is being offered by accounting students and other departments in the Faculty of Management Science and also some other selected departments, relevant departments. So it is the continuation of what you did in 100 level from your ACC 121 or in your ACC 121. So it is not something new, except maybe there are few additional topics. So it is not a strange course to you, and we wish you all the very best. There are about 10 topics in this course, and five of us will be handling you. Will be coming week by week to take you, you know, from one topic to another. And we wish you all the very best. This is the introduction, the first topic, which is the nature and scope of cost accounting. The nature and scope of accounting. Of course, my name is Dr. Mayowa Iredele. My name is Dr. Mayowa Iredele. So, by way of introduction, um, financial accounting reports profits, reports how much the profits the company has made in terms of profits and all of that and all of that. But before you report the profits, you need to understand how you arrive, how you generate, how you make the profits. And that is the essence of cost accounting. Say, for instance, a company that is producing a particular product and uses a component in producing that product. The question is that component, should the company also manufacture that component from within the organization in order to use that component to produce the product? Or the company should order for that component outside? Which one is more profitable for them? There are times the company may also be asking questions such as, we want to achieve, let's say, 5 million profits. Then, how much sales, how much volume of products must we sell in order to achieve that level of profit? And the company can also be asking, okay, we want to sell at this volume, let's say 5 million tons of this particular product. How much profit are we going to make? That will, how much sales are we going to make that will be able to arrive at this level of profit? And all of those questions, those are the burning questions in the mind of a cost accountant, and how to go about it is what we are looking at in this course. Some of you will end up eventually as an accountant or whatever it is, and you will find yourself in the cost accounting department where your main duty would be to be dealing with all of these issues we are looking at in this course. So pay attention. Some of you perhaps will end up in the final account department where you are preparing financial accounts, accounting. Some of you will end up in, of course, in auditing, in taxation, and in different aspects of accounting. And for those of you who are not necessarily doing accounting, you need it. Those of you, for instance, you are in economics, you need valuations and all of that. Those of you in estate management, you want to value properties, you are talking about cost. Any cost that has to do with cost, any cost that has to do with cost measurements, ascertaining costs, and all of that, you need this course. Uh, you need the knowledge of this course. So that is just as a way of introduction. So to start with the definition, let's define cost. What is cost? Ordinarily, you will say cost is the amount incurred to produce a particular product or for a particular thing. But according to CIMA is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, a recognized professional body for cost and management accounting all over the world, defines cost as the amount of expenditure, actual or notional, incurred on or attributed to a specified thing or activity. So when we say notional cost has to do with a cost that, take for instance, a company is using its own building in the course of production. Normally the company is expected to pay rent, but because you are using the company, you are using your own property, you are not going to, remove that amount and say you are paying for rent. So it's still a cost you have incurred, even though it is not recorded directly. So that's a notional cost. So the amount of expenditure incurred on or attributed to a specified thing or activity. That's what we refer to as cost, and that is what this cost is all about. Costing. So, what then is costing? It is the ascertainment of cost. That's what this cost is all about. We are ascertaining cost, we are determining cost, and all of that. Then, cost accounting, if you now bring it together, is the application of accounting and costing principles, methods, and techniques in the ascertainment of cost and the analysis of savings and or SSEs as compared with previous experience or standard. That is according to what? The CIMA definition. You can also define it as the process of collecting, summarizing, analyzing, and reporting in monetary terms, tailor made information to management in order to assist in its internal managerial functions of planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling, and decision making. That's another definition apart from the CIMA that you have on my screen. So definitely, just like most disciplines will define a particular concept. You have a number of definitions for a particular concept. So the same thing with cost and cost accounting. So this is CIMA definition. You have other definitions, which one of them I just uh, mentioned to you now. So that is a definition. So what then is the purpose of cost accounting? The purposes, the aims, the objectives of cost accounting. Number one, it is to ascertain the cost of producing goods and services. Just like I mentioned the other time, in determining the cost of producing a particular product, a lot of effort goes into it. And that is one of the purpose or the aim or the objectives of cost accounting. It is also to determine the profitability or otherwise of a product. That's another purpose why we are studying cost accounting. Then to ascertain the selling price of products or services after putting into consideration the cost or the costs, accumulating all the costs together, then you know the selling price, and then invariably you are going to determine your profit at the end. Then number four, it is to determine the value of stock, because in the cost of this course, we'll be looking at different elements of costs. We'll be looking at material, we'll be looking at labor, how to cost your labor, and then we'll be looking at overhead. So when we talk about materials, we have raw materials, we have work in progress. Sorry, when we talk about stock, we have raw material, work in progress, and finished goods. So you determine the value of your stock. Then number five is to provide information for comparing actual with budgeted costs in order to allow for investigation of variance, because there'll be variance at the end. And then number six is to determine the level of what? The level of revenue. These are just simple objectives or purposes, reasons why we study uh, cost accounting, why we are interested in this course. And like we said, sometimes managers are faced with alternative decisions, whether to go here or to go there, alternative courses of action. So, as to maybe to produce a particular product, as to order for it outside, whichever one is going to be more profitable, cost accounting will help them in that decision making. It helps in that decision making. Of course, it also helps to set standards of performance, to set standard of performance, and to provide feedback information for control purposes. So that's one of the key objectives of cost accounting: control. And how do you do that? By setting standard of performance, and then you provide feedback information. Of course, that is not listed in my list in my slide here. So those are just, that's why you have to lay your hands on textbooks and all that. You see a number of definitions, objectives, and all of that. So all of these summarize the purpose, the objective, the goal of what? Of cost accounting. The objective, the goal of cost accounting. accounting. Very, very important. And of course, as you look at financial accounting as a discipline, the weaknesses of the financial accounting, those are some of the things the cost accounting do take care of, and all that. So if you look at some of the weaknesses of financial accounting, for instance, now, you realize that financial accounting um, deals with information concerning the company as a whole, not breaking it down. Let's say you have product one, product two, product three, product four. Financial accounting will not tell you how product one, product two, product three, product four are performing. But cost accounting has a way of breaking all of these things down to give you this, performance of each of the segments. So, financial accounting has therefore been criticized for the following reasons. Number one, information is not given about individual jobs, products, or services. But cost accounting helps you to know the cost of individual job, product, or service. Are you getting my point? That is very, very important. Then number two, financial accounting records past data. It has to do with historical data. You know, it talks about costs that relates to past, information and all that, which is not um, available, of course, until the end of the period. So, but cost accounting goes beyond historical. It's futuristic in the sense that it provides you data that you are going to use for the decision making before you. So, cost accounting, financial accounting is historical in nature, while um, financial accounting, why cost accounting is not, and that's part of the reason why we are trying to look at this. And then another reason, another weakness of the cost account or the financial accounting is that it does not require costs to be classified into direct and indirect, controllable and uncontrollable, normal and abnormal. So it does not actually break down costs, into those different elements. Then detailed records are not kept of stock movements, and that inhibits or hinders efficient control of stock. And then generally, there is no budget plan. So all of these things are the weaknesses of the financial accounting, which definitely necessitates the need for what? For cost, um, for cost accounting, for cost accounting. So I repeat myself, the financial accounting, information reveals overall performance of the organization without informing management about how different segments is doing what is performing. Different segments of the products are performing, and then information gathering on financial accounting is on what has happened in the past rather than what is going to happen. So all of those things put together make it that um, financial accounting has some weaknesses. And for a business that is futuristic, for a business that want to make profit, for a business that want to meet its targets, profits, and all of that, you need a course, a discipline, something will um, that would um, that will help you to achieve all of those things. So that is part of the reason why we are studying cost accounting. Then let's look at the basic distinction between cost accounting and financial accounting in very clear terms. You have right here in my table about 7 areas of distinctions and differences. Number one is the users of information. Cost accounting is useful to management for internal use, while financial accounting is for external use, the shareholders, the government, and a host of stakeholders that make use of financial accounting. That is that. Then the purpose or the objective for cost accounting is basically for planning, for control, for decision making by the management. While for financial accounting, it is to render account of stewardship for resources entrusted to managers. As you know very well that managers are being entrusted with the resources of the company, the shareholders entrust them with those resources, and they need to render account of stewardship. So that's the essence the purpose of financial accounting. Then, in terms of legal requirements, cost accounting is just an internal initiative, internal, you know, effort by the company. It is not required by the law. But financial accounting is required by the law. At times there is a particular time you must prepare your account, render your account, file your returns, and a number of things. So, and that's why you have a lot of standards in accounting. Regulation of accounting is another thing on its own. Regulation of accounting is very key, and that's because of the capital markets, the investors, in order for them to have confidence, continue confidence in the company. So accounting is highly regulated. Financial accounting is highly regulated by the law, while cost accounting is not necessarily so. Then when it comes to the format of presentation for the management account, for the cost accounting, the management decides the format that they want. It is so practical, so it's not like in one-way traffic. You can prepare it in any particular format as you think it will be understandable by the management. While for financial accounting, there is a law guiding how it must be prepared. Format, you have this format. That's why you have accounting standards specifying how to treat this item, where to report it, where to put it, and all of that. So that's the difference. And I'm sure that as I'm saying this, you begin to look, where is my interest really? Do I like something that, you know, you can do it this way, you must not do it this way, this, or I like something that has rules, you must follow the rules, you must do it this way, you must present it this way, and all of that. So that's just by the way. So begin to so you're interested in the nature of information, the nature of information reported. Cost accounting reports both financial and non-financial information, while financial accounting mainly focuses on financial information, as the name implies. Okay. All right. Then the time period of cost data. Cost accounting is both historical and futuristic, while financial accounting is basically historical. Historical. Then estimates and approximation. In cost accounting, we can approximate. It is permitted. While financial accounting, it is not permitted. It is not permitted. In fact, there is an accounting standard that deals with uh, issues like that. Approximation, whether to approximate or not to approximate, and all that. So um, it is not permitted in financial accounting. Information must be precise, and because there is usually an audit, 5 naira makes a lot of difference when it comes to financial accounting. So those are the basic differences. Then we talk about cost accounting. It is an information. You are providing information actually, and the value of information to cost accounting system cannot be ignored. You know, so that is why the information must possess certain characteristics, certain qualities in order for it to be valuable. Number one, it must be cost effective, meaning that you are preparing a cost accounting information. The cost of getting that information must not outweigh the benefits you are going to get from it. So it must be cost effective. So you cannot say because in the process of preparing cost accounting, providing information, is now making the company to run at a loss and to spend more. So it must be cost effective. It must be timely. If you are providing information, cost accounting information, it must be timely because if the decision has been taken and the information is now coming, that is not timely. It must be relevant to the decision on hand. It must be accurate. It must be complete. I don't want to waste time on this. It must be complete. It must be clear. It must be user friendly. Users friendly. It must be non-voluminous. It must be presented in a good way, and it must not be ambiguous. So all of these are qualities of good cost accounting information. So when you are preparing a cost accounting information, you have to bear all of these in mind. Very, very important. Then let me just say this again. When it comes to cost accounting, if you don't put a cost accounting system in place, you can't just wake up and say you want to start doing cost accounting. There must be a system in place. The same way you can get to a company and they may not have any financial accounting system in place. So if you don't put a system in place, you don't expect to begin to generate information and you don't begin to operate that system. So there must be a system in place. So for cost accounting, a system must be in place. A system must be in place. A system simply means a process through which information is generated from this to this to this, and then eventually you're able to come up with a report. There must be a system in place. So the purpose of cost accounting can only be achieved when an effective accounting system is in place. And the system should be tailor-made to suit the environment of the business, and it should be simple, economical, and practical. And here are the conditions for a successful cost accounting system. Please pay attention to this. Number one, there must be cooperation and coordination among all staff members of the organization. So you begin with the staff. That's number one. Number two, there must be proper system of stock and stock control. Proper system of store and stock control. Take note. I mentioned it earlier on that we are going to be talking about material, labor, and overhead. For you to talk about material, you can't cost material, do valuation of materials properly if there is no store and stock control system in place. I hope you're getting my point. So that is very important. Then there must be adequate payroll procedures. That is how you are going to generate information relating to your what? To your payroll and your labor system, your labor cost. That is very important. So there must be adequate payroll and what? And payroll procedure. So from there, you're able to generate the costs for your labor and all of that, because you're going to be doing costing of your labor. Then number four, there should be an improved system of data capture. Improved system of data capture. In this regard, it is recommended that the standardized pre-printed forms be used for recording, for receipt of materials, issues of material, labor time and hours worked, wages calculation, and all that. So, improve system of data capture, a system in place to capture data, and preferably, that's why every topic in accounting there is an element of information system, element of IT involved. So you can't when you have a robust IT system, it helps you to do what? To be able to capture data. Take for instance, when it comes to labor now, gone are those days when people get to the office and they have to tick mark attendance register or tick something. Now you just get in, there is a system in place that monitors when you enter, when you check in, when you if you step out for 1 hour, it will be recorded. So all of those things. So there must be an improved system of data capture in place. Then number five, there must be sound plan for the collection of indirect costs under suitable heading. That's talking about overhead under suitable heading and for its absorption to products, because it is from overhead to now apportion it to products and all of that and all that. So there must be a sound plan for the collection of indirect costs under suitable heading and for its absorption to products or service department on a predetermined basis. Then number six, a costing department or section should be established, and the responsibilities and the duties of the cost accountant should be clearly what? Defined. So you can imagine now talking about the system in place. Ultimately, there must be a cost accounting department that will now take charge of all of those responsibilities. And then the cost accountants and the financial accountants should be the cost accounting or the cost accounts, so to say, and the financial accounting should be what? Maintained in such a way that their results can be what? Can be reconciled easily. So this is very, very important. So you now, if you are employed today as a cost accountant in a company and they ask you, how do you set up a cost accounting system? These are the things you must pay attention to. You ask them, let's look at our material. How do we our material system? What system do we put in place for our materials? What system do we put in place for our labor? What system do we put in place for our overhead to generate this information? And then there must be a robust data capturing system that will be able to capture this information, and then from there you're able to generate your report. Very, very important. Those are the systems that must be put in place. And the principles of good accounting system, of course, the system must be appropriate to the organization um, and its manufacturing process. These are just general principles. The system must be appropriate to the organization and its manufacturing process. So that means the way it works in company A may be different from the way it works in company B and all that. The way you put the system in place, a manufacturing company is different from a service company. So all of those things must be taken note of. Then the report, statements, and analysis produced by the system should contain relevant information for the intended purpose. And the reports, the statement, and the analysis should be produced between appropriate time intervals and promptly to make them useful and relevant. This is still part of qualities of good accounting system that I talked about earlier. Don't forget principles. So it's more or less like a robust discussion on it again now. So in a timely manner and all of that, the report should be addressed to the appropriate persons who have the capacity to act on the subject matter of the report. So you should be addressed to the right person. Then information generated from the system must be sufficiently accurate to make them reliable. Else, decisions will be made on totally invalid foundations or premises or assumptions. So all of these are still more or less part of what I mentioned. That is where is that one? That's in the slide qualities of good cost accounting system. So more or less like you are breaking it down. So that is those are just the principle. Then the report should be so presented as to make them simple and understandable. Jargons and complex terminology should be avoided because take for instance you are preparing cost accounting information for a manager who is not an accountant. They must be able to understand it. Then the benefits of generating information should not should outweigh the costs before such information is generated. So take note of that very well, very, very important. The costs must outweigh the benefits. So please don't forget that is still part of uh, qualities of good cost accounting system. So it's more or less like a kind of robust discussion around it. Don't forget the topic I'm looking at is nature and scope of cost accounting. Nature and scope of cost accounting. So when it comes to the scope, it covers elements of costs, and the elements of cost include material, labor, overhead. I repeat, material, labor, overhead. So that is the scope of cost accounting. It also includes costing methods and costing techniques. Costing methods and what? And costing techniques. When we say costing methods, we are simply talking about what? Um, the method of cost ascertainment that centers on the nature of the what? Of the product or the business. Now, take for instance, you are producing a particular product that you are producing it in line with a specific order. A customer has placed an order, so you are producing in order to meet their order. So that one now we call it job costing, batch costing. So that's a costing method. So such products now you are going to use job method, batch method, and all of that. If the product is a standardized product that you are producing it for the market, not because a customer placed an order, then in that case you talk about process costing. That's a costing method. So, but we also have costing techniques. Costing techniques has to do with how you value your what? Your finished goods, your finished product. So costing method has to do with the the method used to determine the value of your finished goods, such as for instance, you can talk about what standard costing is a costing technique. You can talk about marginal or absorption costing, that's a costing techniques, and all of that. So you will also be looking at all of that in this course under the scope of cost accounting. So if you summarize what we are looking at in this course summary now, it is basically about cost, material, labor, overhead, costing methods that talks about, you know, job costing, batch costing, process costing, and all of that. And then you'll be talking about the costing techniques, whether you're using standard costing or you're using marginal costing and all of that, and just to value your what your finished goods. So those are the things we'll be looking at in this course. And of course, when we talk about costs as it is, I mean, I started with cost at the beginning. Costs, of course, there's a topic you'll be doing that has to do with cost. You know, costs can be classified according to their, the purpose for which the cost is being what is needed. You can classify cost based on behavior. Talk about fixed or variable cost. You can classify cost based on relevant, or irrelevant cost. to the decision on hand. You can classify costs based on how you trace it to the to your production, whether it is direct or indirect costs. You can talk about costs with relation to the element of cost in terms of material, labor, overhead. You can talk about, so we have costs in different proportions. So we'll be looking at all of that in topic what? In topic two, which is elements, which is talking about cost or something like that. So that is that. So for this first topic, please, just to summarize, we've looked at the purpose of cost accounting, of course, the definitions first. Then we'll talk about the cost, the purpose of cost accounting. We talked about the weakness of the financial accounting, which gives rise to the necessity, the need for cost accounting, and then the difference between cost accounting, financial accounting. Good cost accounting system should possess these qualities, then the necessary um, conditions that must be put in place to set up a good cost accounting system. Very, very important. And then we talked about the scope of cost accounting, material labor overhead, the costing methods, which is talking about the nature of the company business. And then we talk about the costing techniques, how to value their finished product. So that is what this topic entails. And I will give an assignment to review the following costing terms: terminology, cost center, cost unit, cost objective, object. Sorry, that's my assignment for you. Review all of this, um, and write it, submit it to your class governor, uh, who will get it across to me. Submit to your class governor, um, and all of that. And for this textbook, you can lay your hands on Coping with Cost Accounting by Ediomole Inwa. And you can also look at Cost Accounting in Managerial Approach by Adeniji, not S, please. That's a mistake. By Adeniji. Um, thank you so much for your time. I strongly believe that we're going to have a good exciting time in this course. You'll be seeing some of my other colleagues will coming to take you on other parts of the topic. Till I come your way again, I think I'll still have one or two topics to take you in the course of this semester. So see you again in another lecture. Thank you very much, and God bless